Yes, indeed. Anybody just tuning in hasn't been keeping score, you listen to the Killogic Effect. You can find us lurking around all your favorite social media networks. You can also find us live streaming over on the Mixer, Twitch, and other such various type of places. They allow us to do such things. And right now we are sitting here with Mr. Louis Pecsi, author of Nosferatu Origins. Now, you have quite a stacked Amazon account I've been noticing. How are you doing this morning, Mr. Pecsi?
I'm doing wonderful, my friend. How about you?
Well,
besides the tech. I don't want to know that, do I?
Well, it could be better, but hey, what are you gonna do? No, technical things are just that, technical things. So we got it all worked out now.
The nature of the beast, right?
Yeah, it is. If you're gonna play with fire, expect to get burned every once in a while.
That's it, man.
So
you can't do this type of work and not have it give you trouble here and there.
Right. I mean, it just comes with the whole. I mean, like you know just as well as anybody, man. Now,
I've lost one time when a computer crashed when I was still learning this digital realm. I lost like 6 months of work once in the beginning. Because I wasn't smart enough to back shit up, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's easy, man. You get into the heat of things, and you get going, and you're in your groove, and it's like you're not thinking about saving and all the other crap you got to do. You know, it's just you're in creative mode, and man, I've been there, but I could not imagine being in your shoes, being an author, illustrator, and losing.
That's very humbling, and it teaches you that you better always back yourself up, man.
Yes, always back up. Now, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. We gotta make sure everybody knows now. You are the author illustrator of Nosferatu: The Untold Origins, as well as Billy and the Bronto, and the Awakened Poe. Yes, which can all be found on Amazon right now. If you're looking for some, Christmas gift ideas.
Too, if you really want.
Yes.
But you'll get it quicker if you order on Amazon. I mean, if you want it for the holidays, go to Amazon.
What's now the website is
NosferatuOrigins.com.
Nosferatu Origins. I know, it's like, well, that's the thing too. I always tell a lot of people, and I try to do it myself, is you got to try to keep your name kind of like the same through things. It makes it easier for people. So if they don't have your address in front of you, but maybe they're looking for your website, they'll be like, oh, well, why don't I try Nosferatu,
There you go.
But, so, you have been quite busy. You've been showing me some snippets here and there, some teasing, if you will. Wow, dude. Wow.
Dude, the story will blow your mind away that I've written, because I didn't want the typical. I mean, I love all the Hammer movies. I've seen all of them. I love all the Universals.
Right.
I mean, I have a collection of probably 800 horror movies, and it's a lot. But I like ones. I try to get the ones that are thought-provoking, And I said, I don't want to do, like, if you watch the Hammer movies, they're kind of all the same story with different characters. Dracula's back, he's drinking blood, we gotta stop him.
Right.
I don't want to do that. So I'm really excited. The story has a really mythical quality and has a lot of mythology in it. So I think people will really like it, you know. I enjoyed writing it. It has a lot of other mythology besides vampires in it. There's even mummies, you know.
Now, I just, well, not just, but I had received the package in the mail from you. Thank you very much. I got to tell you, man, there's a few things I got to say. First off, it was like, even like knowing as much as I already did, or you know, feeling like basically I had almost in a way seen the book and pretty much knew the book inside and out, talking with you and everything. But once I had it in my hands and the experience that you get with this thing, wow, man, I really, it's impressive, man. And the way that it's got so many cool elements, the way that you put it all together. There's nothing, you don't ever feel like this is getting the samey. You know, like,
no, that'll never happen.
There's no like, oh, here's this formula or this outline, and we're gonna go by this all the way through. Nope. And
no.
One thing that I think you'll really appreciate, and I got getting ready to go do a bunch of Amazon reviews and write-ups, and you're first on the list. Is
thank you, man.
My wife, she's you know, she likes like the thriller type horrors more than the monsters per se. Yeah. And so this isn't like her forte. Like, this isn't her like but she was like very interested, and the one thing that she kept saying is it makes you keep wanting to see what is next. Like even if you're not reading it, you just want to keep flipping.
Looking at it, right?
Yeah, you just want to keep flipping through it to see what the hell is going. You know, it's like, whoa. And the other thing she said was the idea of just sitting there and staring at the page and, you know, looking, you know, all over it. You know, it's
wow.
You know, it was just it's well, how did she put it? Because she doesn't, you know, she's not a comic book reader, but she's expecting when you say graphic novel that it's going to be, you know, and she was like, you're still looking all over the page, but not the same way you would be, like, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
like with a comic, it's like, with that, it's like you're dancing on the page, you know, versus a comic is very just right to left, you know, type stuff.
Yeah. That was my whole goal, and the new, like, I can't wait to hear what she thinks of the new one, because the new one is also like a murder mystery. So there's like, it's not straight out horror, but there is obviously scary, you know, you got werewolves, mummies, and stuff like that in this, but there's like, the characters are what's most important. And
that's the thing, is it's not right off rip. You notice that it's not the same old story.
No, I mean, this has taken me a year and a half to coming up on over a year and a half now, because it's not done. I wanted it done by Christmas, but that ain't happening. I'm almost done, but I haven't done the layout. I'm almost done all the artwork.
And you don't want to rush it and just to get it out by a certain date. Right.
I mean, I'm doing Egypt right now. I'm working on the Egyptian section of the book. Oh yeah.
Now, of course right. You are.
and you know, I'm like, I put this book aside a few times and said, man, why am I nuts? It might not make a penny, this book, you know. It's like, because it's so friggin' huge. It makes the first one looked like tiddlywinks, you know. I couldn't just tell a story. No, I got to go back to Egypt. I got to go back, and all these other supernatural motifs come into play. And what's interesting at the end, the story is about a guy trying to find his humanity against this vampire. But that's more so in the third book. This one, he's getting to that point. And I wanted to give him a quest, like, well, what's his quest? So, you know, his quest is to reclaim what it was to be human. Because that's really, at the end, what it is, you know? It's like, do you want to go around and do this every single night? And you're...
Yeah. Is this how you want to live eternity? Or... Right.
Right. And so... in this book, he doesn't have the solution yet, but he's presented with what could be the solution. Book 3 will be the dangers of that solution and what happens, and it's fascinating. So his character, the metamorphosis, and I think to myself, I must be nuts, but I think people will like it because I'm having fun with it.
Well, that's just it, and I think that's one thing about your art and all of your stuff is that that you get that feeling that you're having fun and you love what you're not just doing it
exactly
to do it, or because that's what needs to be done or something. You know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean because you summed it up perfect. Yeah.
So. Now that's one other thing I want to touch on too is you've been doing a lot of people have been commissioning.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I'm doing a book cover right now. I'm working on. I'm really excited. It has to be done around the next 2 weeks, and I've taken my time with it because the first one I did was too scary. The guy didn't like it, so I was like, wow. It's a thriller. It's not a horror thing. So I sat down and made a series of sketches, and I've come up with the cover, and I'm going to work on refining it and show it to him next week, probably for Christmas. That'll be his Christmas now, but he has to pay for it. It's not a free Christmas gift.
Right.
Right. But I'm excited because I like doing book covers. They're fun to play with, And a CD cover. I'm doing one for a group. And the song is going to be called Supernatural, so it's...
Oh, perfect.
I'm sorry, it's called Superstition.
Oh, Superstition?
Yeah, which is just like Supernatural. You got
basically.
Everything from... Yeah. So I'm having fun with that. That'll be done in the next few days, too. So those two they're fun, light pieces, and, it's nicer because it's one thing as opposed to a book that's going to have 500 plus images when it's done, and
that is crazy, Lewis. You're just a machine.
I can't wait for you to see it. That's all I can tell you. I can't wait to hold it in my hands. It's going to be like it's done. There it is in my hands.
It's like Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah. I'm doing the kids' book is easy. I'm working on. It's only got like 60 plus images in it, so it's kind of like. Yeah, it's nice, man.
Yeah, talk a little bit about what that's all about, and because
it deals with time
I try to remind people that you're not just the doom.
I mean, look, I'm even going to write a novel after this. That's like I'm doing a series of portrait studies because I never did that. So I'm finishing up Mark Twain. I put up the last night was like the first 45 minutes. I worked on the painting. I did the underpainting of it. It looked pretty good, but there was no details. Now I'm doing the details on it, and I said I want to do a series of portrait studies. That'll be fun, And but going back to the children's book, it's about a time traveler, and this kid, he's a genius at age 12. He's invented shoes that allow him to fly, a ball that'll bounce on forever, and then he says, well, I want to invent something that no one's ever invented. And he invents a time machine, and he goes back and meets Einstein, and he goes back to the era of dinosaurs. So it's his adventures really in time.
Now, that's the first one you're talking about, right? Billy and the Bronto.
The name of the... What's that?
You're talking about...
Billy and the Bronto is about a boy and a dinosaur. This one...
This is the new one you're talking about.
the new one, his name is Theo, and it's called Theo's Adventures in Time. And he's a boy genius, and he, my goal with the book, because I always try to have some sort of goal, is to inspire kids to study science more, and really, not enough people are studying science anymore, and it's important, because, look at all the great, imagine, hey, what if Jonas Salk hadn't discovered the vaccines that he did, or Einstein hadn't written down E equals MC squared, where would we be, It's all these
they
things
are really streamlining a lot in the schools.
Oh, yeah. And it's scary. But you know what's scarier is other parts of the world aren't. So it's like, hey, we should really think about improving these things. So my book is hopefully something that will inspire kids to explore science and imagination, because Einstein's best quote, in my opinion, is imagination is more important than knowledge. And I agree with that, because if you can't imagine something, you can't create it.
Well, that's just it. And I think there's a lot without getting on any sensitive topic, I think with the biggest thing with people that I think as individuals, you always come to a point in your life where you need to learn this, or as a society, is empathy. The ability to literally put yourself in somebody else's position and see through their eyes, or see.
I agree 100%.
Writers and artists and stuff do that a great deal. With certain things, they don't know everything, obviously, but they have the actors have the ability to try to step into somebody else's life and see things through their eyes, and then it helps them act that role. Some actors, more than not, some actors take it way too serious.
I don't know if it's too serious. Okay.
Well, some of them get to the point to where it's just unhealthy. Well,
that I'll agree with.
With Christian Bale, he's done great. He's been a perfect example of how you can physically change and everything, but he's also, look at The Mechanic, or the Machinist?
Well, you know what the difference is?
That was dangerous levels of, anorexia.
Well, but you also got to look at and say, was that also the studio advertising and hyping it? See, it's one of those things where you can say, well, maybe it was, or maybe he was working with doctors. I didn't think nothing of it
until I saw the documentary about the whole thing and them interviewing him about it. And
I love him as an actor.
That screwed his kidneys up and everything.
Really?
Wow. He got screwed up for a little bit. But it's my point to that is that's like taking it way to the nth degree. That's going a whole.
Well, nowadays, let's go to the next topic. Computer graphics. They could do that with CG.
Yeah.
And
the way to be able to actually act characters, awesome.
No, I'm saying they could do the CG and make him thinner. They could.
Oh yeah, I see what you're talking.
Look what they can do with de-aging now with CG, right? They can take an actor who's 60 and make them look like they're 30, and you won't be able to tell.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, there's the idea is there's whole generations of people that won't even know the difference hadn't they ever seen that actor in any other thing,
Right.
They wouldn't even know. And, and you don't want to get into the uncanny valley where it has people kind of feeling odd about it, or where it feels weird. But they've done very good at that, I think. Everything that I've seen of it.
It's got me
pretty impressive. Pretty impressive.
It is, and people, I've had people tell me they shouldn't be doing that. And what I say back to them, I say, how different is it than a makeup effect? When you dress an actor up, like when they made for the movie The Elephant Man, they made John Hurt look like.
Right.
It's not really that much different, but the technology is so much better that it supersedes that it looks so real, because no longer is it rubber on somebody's face that doesn't always move 100% real. It moves pretty close to real, but now it moves 110% real because of motion capture technology. We can line the muscles up and everything else, and the illusion. I mean, when they did, going back, even when they first, some of the early stuff they did with making people's faces, altering it, go back to The Dark Knight, was it Returns, maybe, or was it The Dark Knight Rises? The one with Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Right.
When they did Two-Face, that was unbelievable, you know?
That's crazy.
And it was terrifying. I mean, it looked real. I mean, they went into the guy's face, and half his face was gone.
Well, they have
and
this... They got the whole James Dean thing. I think we talked about it.
I know.
And,
sure.
I'm of the mind, I'm on two sides of it. I'm of the mind that, you know, especially if it's something that, you know, the actor, you know, was going to do or whatever. There's a lot of what ifs. But I also think that there's ways where you've turned somebody into a piece of property to where a movie company starts just throwing them in movies, and it's like you don't know that actor, had they been alive, you know, it's like, I don't know.
Well, sure.
It gets
but then there's another way to look at it.
Where are we crossing that line with that? And, disrespecting the dead or paying them respect.
But is it disrespecting, or are we going to think of it this way?
I think it all matters on the implication, in my opinion.
Okay. I agree, but I also I think also the third thing is, what if it makes, and I see the good in this, the whole generation, because let's be honest, you got an 18-year-old who's never heard of James Dean.
Exactly.
So let's say this 18-year-old sees this film and says, who was this guy? And next thing you know, they look up this guy who was one of the best actors that ever lived, and they're now watching his films, because it is a work of art, whether people want to argue or not. I mean, this technology, it's not technology. Yeah. It involves painting and all this stuff. It's digital, yes, but someone has to create this image. And, you know, I mean, it does involve the implications, but I also think, well, you know, I think because here's what I look at. This is not going to be an easy movie to make.
No.
To pull this illusion, to pull the illusion off, it's hellish, you know?
Uh-huh.
And, I mean, I Rogue One, right? Did you see Rogue One?
Huh? Yeah.
Wasn't under the style. See, I love Peter Cushing. And that digital image,
see,
who else? I mean, it should have looked just like Peter Cushing for Grand Moff
That's a perfect example of that's a story he was already in, and that's something to where, without question, I think that's doing him respect, that's keeping him in the story, and using his likeness without trying to replace him, and doing the utmost of everything that you can to make it be him.
Exactly.
But again, I mean, you know, I'm also looking at the money hungry, greedy side of the movie industry that starts to say they want to make another Sopranos, and they want to bring Tony Soprano back. I mean, do you think he'd want to do that if he was alive? You know?
But what if they got like someone like Martin Scorsese to direct it, and they got a script written by Mario Puzo, and it was like top of the line.
Right.
And they said, well, let's try. Like, see, one of my dreams would be, because I love Bogart. What if you could make a Bogart 1940s film noir Sam Spade movie? Get these characters, make the whole film this way, but it never existed. But get a script written by the top of and set it in black and white and do like a 1940s.
Right.
I think that would be cool, you know, because it would be like and you know it's not real, but it's okay because it's an homage to all these great actors. if you did it that way. Yeah, I mean, it should not be done just to sell beer. It shouldn't be done to... But if you're going to do it, make sure it's a good tribute to them and not just a, way to raise the dead.
Not just to... I mean, that's the thing is, when does it become disrespectful to when you're doing this? And I think it is...
Well, I think the audience will determine that too, won't they? Don't you think the audience will determine that?
Well, that's the thing, and that's what ultimately, that's about the next thing I was going to say was, that's ultimately what's going to determine that. It's like with these live shows where they're doing like Roy Orbison, excuse me, Roy Orbison is touring,
right.
He's been dead for years.
He's not really touring, but man, sure.
Well, it's his hologram touring, and it's, you get to the point, some people come from it torn to where they were like, wow, it's just like, seeing him, or some people were like, I never got to see him because I was too young, but then you do have them people that felt weird, that it made them feel uneasy, and that's why they call it the uncanny valley, and they try to stay away from that. Now, you remember Frank Zappa, he has a tour that goes on right now, but it goes more like a light spectacle show where there's a cartoonish caricature of him rather than an actual human representation of him.
Yeah, sure.
This is the other thing too, that, speaking to that science, they go to great lengths to get actual photo representation and make a three-dimensional image. Now, with Roy Orbison, they have tons of imagery that they can go through because he was alive during plenty of cameraed and televised, and so they got a wealth of stuff. Same thing with Zappa. Those are those areas where, ultimately the audience is going to decide, or they are going to decide when it's in poor taste, and
exactly. I think this movie, from what I've read on it, like his family even said this would have been a movie he would have been proud to be involved with.
Probably, yeah.
That to me is, and as long as you got people who are looking out for you, at least then it's probably going to be a good film.
Being his family and everything is involved, it's hard to argue with, it's like, who can speak to someone more than that? You know what I'm saying? It's
like okay, off the topic, give me 1 second, but not off the topic. When they made the new Peanuts cartoon, because, it was done with digital animation, but I love that film, but, Schultz's whole family was involved with that, man, and it felt like a Peanuts film, and I loved it, it's like, because they wanted to preserve something that he had created that really is beloved, and not just exploit it for a few bucks more,
And responsibly bring it into a newer generation that can appreciate it and not shrug it off.
We could use some of that philosophy in this day and age,
Right. What do you think of before I forget here, the new The Grudge being done by the Raimi team?
What? I didn't even know. Talk to me about what's happening now.
The movie The Grudge?
Of course I do.
There's a new one coming out being done by
They don't need this
team.
Oh wait, Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi.
That'll be interesting because I like Sam. I bet you it'll be good. Because Sam's good. I like his work, don't you?
Oh yeah, a lot of people don't
come on, Evil Dead is one of my favorite horror movies.
Spider-Man really put him on the map for a lot of other people.
Right.
And put him in the
Evil Dead was a great little horror movie, which Grudge will be right in the similar mindset of,
You can tell that they're playing with the story a little bit, making it, definitely making it their own. I'm anxious
Well,
to
is
see.
it a continuation of The Grudge, or is it a remake?
I think it's a total reboot. I think
Really?
Yeah. I'm not sure though. It looks to me like it's a reboot.
Okay.
From what
When's
I've
it coming
seen,
out?
pretty sure it's a reboot. It's coming out 2020. I think it's going to be in theaters 3rd of January. So it's coming out on the
But
new
the
year.
Grudge ain't, the problem with The Grudge is it's not that old, is it?
Well, it's older than some of the other shit they've been rebooting. But basically,
I mean, I'm always
it's
of
only
two
a
mindsets.
generation old.
Right.
Basically, there's only a generation that's gone by where they haven't made anything with The Grudge. So,
Wow.
so that gives I guess I still think it's too young to reboot.
I do too, but what if it's more of a continuation
If it's a
of it, rather?
continuation, that would be great too. I mean, either way, I'm anxious to see, because
I like Stan. He hasn't done anything in a long time.
him and his team's been picking right up. I mean, of course, there's also the whole Evil Dead series with what's his butt there? Jesus,
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I'm looking at 3 other things here I want to talk to you about. The new Ghostbusters trailer.
No, they're doing another Ghost. No, come on, dude. You're kidding me.
And you didn't see it?
Is it with the girl again?
Nope. This is a direct sequel to the last movie. It involves
Bill Murray's in it?
it involves the nephew. They haven't shown any of the original cast per se in it. But here's the thing. It looks in the style of it, and we'll say like to give you so you know what I'm talking about. Like say the filter that's on it. It looks like Stranger Things.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't have that look of, which gets me because you have that formula. It's, it's
It
right
works.
there. It's written down
I'm
for
almost like,
Christ's
don't
sakes.
make one.
I mean,
Don't make
granted, the last
don't make it
Ghostbusters was
Ghostbusters,
made
right?
on
Leave it.
film, but
It should look like it's. Maybe they should take it and put the characters in an old age home, and Bill Murray's crazy, right now. See, that's what I would do. I think because he seems like he's crazy anyhow.
Paul Rudd's
then
in it.
suddenly the ghosts start to come out, and they let them out. You know what I mean? It's like that would be kind of funny because these guys are the only ones that know how to stop the ghosts.
But
So you get these. But I don't like if it doesn't feel like it's a comedy, man.
Well, that's just, it's got comedians in it already. I believe it's Paul Rudd that's in it.
Okay.
So, it's gonna, it's gonna at least have some comical bits in it.
Who's directing, do you know?
But, no, I didn't see,
I almost wish they
I
would just
thought
leave
you
it
would have
alone.
seen it. I could have sworn that you would have already seen it. I'll have to send
Oh,
you some stuff, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't keep up with everything. I'm sorry to
Well,
say.
you're
I wish I
working.
did.
I'm more on this side of it to where it's being thrown at me. You're on the other side creating the stuff. That gets,
Well, hey, you create too. You're a musician too. I need to surf a little more, spend some more time just looking at what's out there, because
There's also
it-
a new Wonder Woman coming out.
I'll tell you what, I like the last Wonder Woman. This first,
Yeah.
not the Justice League BS. I didn't bother watching that. It looks horrible.
Right.
But if they
I
get
hear
the
you.
same woman, that
Oh, the
woman
new one is gonna
directed.
take- Huh?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk
No.
over
You go.
If they get the same woman who directed the first one, she did exceptionally good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I like the woman playing the part. She looks the part.
She's perfect. perfect.
Yeah.
It's like, that's exactly what I picture. I mean, granted, that's because we grew up with what we thought, you know, Wonder Woman was supposed to be like. And we also got, you know, comics and whatever, but she fits the part perfectly in her mannerisms, everything. She's got it.
Yeah, and
she
and
feels
she's hot
it's
as hell.
her. She makes it her own. It isn't like she's acting like somebody else. You know, she's her. But this new one takes place in 1984.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So I think they're going to try to directly connect it to the series. It's from, or at least it's going to be like the wink and the nod type aspect to where they acknowledge it, you know? So,
I like that idea with doing that, you know, because that series was a lot of fun.
And I'm not sure, I think it might be the same director is doing this one, I'm not sure. But
I wish they'd let her direct the friggin' a Superman movie, because Superman they've destroyed, man, and it's sad.
Yeah, I could go into that for a while.
You know, the best Superman movie besides Christopher, you know who they should hire, really? I like Brandon Routh, when they had the guy that directed Bohemian Rhapsody, David, what's his name? Come on, Bohemian. He also did the X-Men films.
Oh, Bryan Singer?
Bryan Singer. I love that guy's work.
Dude, I loved the X-Men until they, you know...
Well, he didn't do the later ones, remember.
Until the newer iterations. I loved the first X-Men's that he...
Yeah, those were the ones he did. The other ones, they screwed up, man.
When it started getting into the newer stuff, it was like,
It got stupid.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind that, that new class or whatever. It was entertaining, but, it
wasn't the X-Men.
It wasn't, you know, it just didn't feel like, you know, it was like the first three, that's it. Those are the
I
ones.
agree, man. Yeah. I mean, Patrick Stewart is Dr. Xavier. I mean, he was that character.
Yeah.
Ian McCall was a perfect
he's
villain.
Magneto. You can't, it's like you can't undo that. And they try to connect it.
But they didn't try hard enough.
They're at least trying, I guess, but whatever. I think
they didn't have the same director either. See, I mean, Singer is a much better director than those guys.
It's like, how can you see those first three and then put out some of these movies that you are?
The other guy was a wuss they got to be Dr. Xavier, wasn't he?
Huh?
Didn't you think he was a wuss, the guy that got to play Xavier and the other one?
He's just, it's like, why did they pick him? Because he has a British accent or something? I
guess. I didn't
understand why he was the one that made, you know, that was totally like, you know, I don't know, there was some money exchange.
It's not bad. I was like, that's not Xavier. And the blue chick wasn't as hot as the girl in the first one, right? I mean, Rebecca Romaine had never gotten
good actors.
Right.
But.
And a great director. I mean, Bryan Singer, I mean, geez. I mean, I liked it. I thought his Superman Returns actually was better than Donner's version, because they didn't have any camp humor in it. They made it very dark, you know, but they made Superman still heroic. They didn't do like what DC's now done with Superman is they've tried to make him edgy, and I liked what Singer did is he made him virtuous in a world that had gone dark. And I thought that was a better angle, you know. It's like he was still this shining light in a world that was losing its balance.
I don't know, for me, the Singer Superman felt more like a direct sequel to the original Supermans.
That's what it was meant to be. You got it.
It felt more like it than the new ones with, what's-his-butt directing.
Henry Cavill. He doesn't look enough like Superman either, does he?
Who's the new guy that's directing him? He also did the Sparta movie there.
Yeah, I know.
He's directing him like
Snyder.
A kid with he's directing him like a fucking kid with a toy or something. He overdoes
Dude, he
effects.
sucks.
He just overdoes everything. He's like a wicked fanboy that's gotten a hold of an editing machine, and he's just...
And too many millions of dollars.
Yeah, and he's just making him up a Superman movie, and it's like... And now there's this whole Justice League, there's the Zack cut, you know, or, there isn't even... It's like, dude... All of that.
They worked it, man.
I mean, I don't want to... I know there's a lot of fans
Superman
of all that,
should be
and I don't want to
easy...
shit on all that. It's just...
But listen, Superman should be an easy movie to friggin' make.
You think?
Richard Donner did it, right? Then what he did that was so great in the first Superman movie, and I think that one and Bryan Singer's are my two favorites. I love Superman and Superman Returns. They stuck to the mythos. They didn't try to make dark and edgy. They didn't try to, no, because Superman's about a virtuous character, man. He's the good guy, and he's not Batman. That's my problem I have. Like, Zack Snyder tried to turn the Batman. It's like, no, man, Batman's the dark, gritty guy. Superman's the good guy.
These guys, it's like, man, they're kids or whatever are growing up on the cartoons with the Justice League and all that, and, you know, or they are, and, you know, now they want to actually tie that into the original. It's like, some of this stuff works okay as cartoon crossovers or whatever, you accept it.
Right.
But to do
it... Some of it doesn't.
Yeah, it's just, it does not work as well, man, and... Even with this digital era, you still, I mean, there's a lot of aspects of Superman that you try to get around that just, you know, and there's, you know, and Batman, both Batman and Superman, it was like, there were so many things that had to be changed about their characters to make them do what they were doing in these movies, and it's just...
Batman, I thought the best Batman movies still are, my two favorites are, I love the ones with Christian Bale, because those movies, they focused in on the human... They made them more like drama, which I really liked about...
and Christian Bale are the two best Batmans in my...
Amen, man.
Yeah.
And I
don't want to shit on any other Batman, but all the rest...
No, they all suck after that. Look, in my opinion, they all suck. They all suck.
Yep.
Outside that, you know?
Some of them are just so badly cast. I don't even, like Val Kilmer. What the hell was that? What, you know?
Dude, Ben Affleck sucked, didn't he? Wasn't Ben Affleck the horrible Batman?
Yeah, I did not. I haven't even watched a full movie of him as Batman.
Dude, he sucks.
I can't.
He's too friggin' smug, first of all. And he has no range as an actor.
Yeah, he's just I don't know, man. You know,
he should be doing commercials, man.
That
you know, like,
that movie he just did a little bit ago, where he's like a hitman, the accountant there.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
That was pretty good that he did. That was a cool story, cool movie. You know, it was.
But how can you screw Batman up?
But it was so good because he had very little dialogue. He could act very monotone. That was his character. You know, and it's like...
Well, and that's the way he is, I think, don't you?
Yeah, probably. I don't, you know, but...
he ain't Batman, that's the thing.
But it's
to be Batman, you gotta have some range, man.
Well, and look at, what's his butt there? What was the other guy that played Batman, and it was like, he regrets it? It's like his biggest...
George Clooney,
yeah,
probably.
Clooney. He regrets doing Batman. That's like his biggest regret in his career. Is doing Batman.
Well, the story sucked. I mean, that was definitely
a cartoon.
Oh, dude, it was a computer cartoon, and it was back in the early days of computer graphics. It doesn't look bad.
It was so, like, stage acted, just, wow. You know, it was like, you could tell every bit of it was done on a sound stage. It's like every bit of that movie just felt so fake and terribly like, wow. It was all like a caricature.
It was bad.
Yeah, it was like a caricature of Batman. You know, not Batman.
It's like they were trying to make it like the 90s. It felt like they were trying to do a reboot of the Adam West
That's
thing.
what it seemed like they were trying to, like, do that, or spoof it. You know, it came off more like they were spoofing the shit.
Because it sucked. I mean, it was bad.
It was bad. So...
We need... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
They need better directors to do that stuff. Like, I mean,
Well, wasn't that one done by Joel Schumacher or some shit?
I don't like Schumacher at all, man.
Well, I'm just saying, it isn't like he's a slouch director, you know?
But his style was
some,
like,
epics,
stuff,
I guess.
I like the one movie he did. I mean, I'm not a huge fan. Like, he did do the Family Opera, which I'm not a fan of musicals, so we won't bother going into that. But he did do one good movie that I like with Michael Douglas, where he gets tired. It's like he's stuck in traffic, and he gets out and starts blowing people away, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was a decent film.
Oh,
so he got...
Shit, I was just talking about this movie. Falling Down.
That's it. That's one of his.
Yeah, I got that, I have that movie. Yeah, that's one of my favorite Michael Douglas movies. And it just says so much about shit. It really does. That movie makes you think.
It does.
Sad.
I mean, that was a good friggin' movie. But how do you go from making that to doing some stupid-ass Adam West-style Batman? You know, it's like, okay. I don't know.
Telling you, man, that clerk shouldn't have fucked with him. That's what set him off.
Wait, who set him off?
Remember the clerk was like ripping him up, $3 for the dollar or some shit like that. He was on the phone. He wouldn't even get off the phone to deal with him, and oh man,
dude, I gotta watch that movie again.
He wouldn't make change, so he was making him buy something. But then when he bought something, he couldn't get the change that he wanted. It was terrible. But anyway,
that was a good. Go ahead.
So, tell us more about how where are you at in the process here?
Where am I at? I'm almost done, but I've been almost done. I probably got about for Notes for Octu, I probably got about 70 more paintings to do, and
70?
Yeah, but that's nothing compared. I'm looking at the whole book as I talk to you, all the artwork, and it's nothing compared to what's in here. And then for Theo, I got one more image to finish, and then I'll be putting it together. So Theo should be ready in the next week or two, maybe 2 weeks.
Really? You know? So it'll be... Well,
but now Theo I'm going to send out to an agent. We'll see. I'm hoping I can actually get a large market for that book, because the artwork's really eye-popping. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Oh, so you don't have a release date, per se. You just have a release date.
Man. Whenever, sometime in January, I'll be able to give you exact dates on both books.
That'd be cool.
Because I might still self-publish it, or I might go with, if I'm lucky enough to get a bigger publisher. But that's so hard with children's books, man. I won't lie. I mean, that's most people don't really want to touch that stuff, you know?
Well, yeah, I've heard that it can be a difficult market to get into.
But if you get into it, man, I mean, I look at Dr. Seuss or Maurice Sendak, you know? I mean, those two, they hit gold mines with that.
Right. Well, that's
Where the Wild Things Are. That's one of my favorite books.
Made his career.
That.
Now, you also got BillyandtheBronto.com?
No, that's still on Nosferatu Origins. But you can type BillyandtheBronto.com, yes. That's active. So that's still there. That's my cute, happy kids book, man. It's a good story.
Yes, it is. I got confused earlier when I thought you were talking about Billy and the Bronto, and then you started talking about invention.
Theo.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, man.
No problem. Once again, anybody interested now, I highly recommend highly recommend this book to anybody that's into horror, classic horror, and anybody that's into art. And it's weird saying anybody that's into graphic novels, because it's not your typical graphic novel. It's not what...
No, it's not, man. I wish, that's probably the best thing about it, I guess. Really.
There's also sections in it that come across like, you get the same feeling like if you're going through like a scrapbook. Like, there's these little pieces coming together of, and it's really neat. It's freaking awesome.
I can't wait. Like I said, I'm looking forward to hearing what you think of the next one. The next one, as I look at it, it's like, man, it's going to blow your mind, I think. Because it's unlike anything I've ever done.
Well, like I said, I thought I already knew what to expect when I got the book. I thought, wow, this will be like, a way to actually finally have it in my hand and see what I've been looking at, But then it was like, whoa, it was way more than I expected. So, and again, with, the wife's, the way she came off about it was awesome, because I didn't expect, I thought she was going to be like, oh, wow, that's nice. And she was like, thoroughly intrigued with the whole thing.
I'm deeply honored by that.
It was very neat. Yeah, I was very surprised. I was kind of sitting there, kind of jaw open, like, you really want to look at this? So it was, it was really cool. But again, anybody that's looking for some, some good Christmas ideas, especially for the younger ones there, I really recommend...
The dinosaur book, man.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with dinosaurs.
No.
You can't. So, Billy...
If you got a teenager that's gothic, they would like this book, the vampire one. Man,
and, Nosferatu really covers a good age gap, and especially nowadays, because... it's a lot easier for people to get into their kind of niche things, and no matter what age they are. And, there's people young and old that are into all things Dracula and vampiric and Nosferatu-ish. Nosferatu-ish,
hey, that's a good word.
Is that a word? Oh, it is
now. There you go. Edgar Allan Poe used to do that, man. He invented words, man, to fit into stuff.
Yeah. I need to find a word that rhymes with this.
That's what he did.
And I'm going to have to invent some words. Well, it's like...
I think they're called neologisms or something like that. I forget. But there's a word for inventing words, and it's like a neologism. I think that's the word.
It's like trying to moronically shrug off like J.R. Tolkien inventing a whole language, being like, well, of course the story's going to be good if you invented the language.
Oh yeah, you got to make it pretty... I would imagine that's a pretty good start, right?
It's like, how do you even like try to undersell something like that? You
can't,
can you,
man?
3 languages or 2?
I don't know. You're asking. I'm not an expert on Tolkien, man. But
I think it was just 2. But
well, that's all. Only 2.
Yeah, only 2.
He was slacking off a little bit there.
Actually, no. I think it might have been 3. But at any rate,
okay.
The idea is, in the world building that you do is. It's very original in the way that you do it, and it really has a cool way of sucking you into it. A lot different than the normal, I'll say, mundane way you read a book or the way that you would even read a comic.
Thank you.
And, there's a, I say comic because that's the regular quote-unquote graphic novel style of,
right.
you know, and this does not fit into that in any way.
No. I don't want it to, man, you know?
I think about the only way that it does is it's graphic. There's
artwork, right? There's art in it, man. And it tells a story. We got a story, man. They tell stories.
It tells in the way, and I've said this a lot too, the way that, you know, there's no bubble letters, the way that you set up dialogue and narration and are able to, you know, keep that all, you know, cohesive without people getting confused or anything. It's very
I hate bubbles, dude. I really do. I have a hatred for bubbles.
Well, you can see why they're used, though, because it's an easier way to direct conversation and, you know, and especially in a fast-type format where you got a lot of action and stuff going out, it can be a really easy way rather than the way that you do it with...
Yeah, my way's not easy.
Yeah, you meld it into the story, and it's like it gives a very three-dimensional aspect to an otherwise two-dimensional landscape. You know, it really does.
Man, I like the way you think. Thank you.
It's a lot different. Again, it's a lot different. Like I said earlier, with the aspects of the like parts of it feeling like you're looking at Nosferatu's scrapbook, and you know, things like that, and you're
mixing of black and white line art,
and you piece together within real quickly. You can like look at a page and piece together, you know, the story that's being told on that page without even reading any words, and then. You know, and then you get into the words, and it gets even deeper, and it's very good, man. So, the other thing too that I would recommend to anybody that's into poetry or Poe is
there we go.
Checking out The Awakened Poe. Now you can also go see some stuff about all of this over on the YouTubes, correct?
Correct. And you can also, you know, go to theawakenedNosferatuOrigins.com, which I'm revamping the website in about a month, man.
And if
I want
you
to
have
put more.
Kindle,
it's on Kindle.
Yeah, you get hooked up if you got Kindle. So go.
I actually love them on Kindle, man, because they really pops on the Kindle.
Really?
Even more so. I mean, yeah, I like the printed word. But I looked at it on Kindle and was like, wow, that just looks cool, man.
See, I just got one of them regular. What the hell is this? It's one of them little Amazon. Yeah, it's one of them little Amazon. Yeah, it's a Kindle, I guess. Yeah. But,
yeah, Amazon's Kindle. Apple is the I forget what Apple's thing is called, but it's not Kindle. It's the what is that, man? I forget.
Owns the other half.
There's all these damn names, and they're all those digital books, man. They should just leave. Ain't this digital book?
How does that work out with, like?
Well, I don't have. There's no physical book, so you know you're getting. It's not bad. You know, so you're.
No, go ahead.
I like it. You know, it's
you like the setup with Kindle, like how they...
I do.
Now, I don't understand how that works out. Now, people are paying... Do they pay for, like, a membership with Kindle or whatever, or...
That I don't know, but I get a percentage of each Kindle sale. It's not much, but, you know, that's all right.
Right.
It's a lot higher. It's higher than for the physical book because there's no physical book to deal with. So, you know, you get the, you know, I think they take like a couple bucks and then the rest of it's yours, you know. Like they might get $2 off of it, so I get the remainder, which ain't bad.
Right. Well, look, we are even the ability to do some of the things, and be like to self-publish anything these days, and well, actually kind of get like mass distribution without having to have teams of people or a whole corporation behind you.
Right.
Is very neat that we're even in those times, that, because I think it's really bringing a lot of beautiful art and literature.
Well, everything, music
forefront. And
I agree.
Obviously, with music as well, and that's why some of them places that kind of you want to talk about like bloodsuckers and vampires. You know how much the people that own Spotify made last year? It's it's over 400 million.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you put that into perspective, and that's, we're in a time where you don't need those, those gate holders or whatever. But I guess being in a centralized place is where people lazily like to have things, so they can just have a one-stop shop, and being there is a good idea. It's just, I think artists need to get paid more for what they put out on those platforms. I think those platforms really take advantage of artists, and that's it. I mean, I really think that even with the laws that they just signed in, what was it, last year, the year before, friggin' Trump did the whole MMA thing. I thought it was a friggin' fighter thing. I was like, what? I was such a moron. I was like, why are they even dealing with what? I was like, what do they have anything to do with friggin' martial arts? What the hell's going on? So, it made it so artists can get more now. It's basically updated that artists can get paid more on a digital market. And because with the way the laws were first, with rights and all that, artists weren't getting paid as much. So they've updated it, but I don't feel that, it's like I look around and I'm not seeing how that's even fair. That I don't get it. Maybe somebody could explain it to me with a calculator, but I really see a lot of these big places take a big cut, and you get
of course they do.
Tenths of a cent, and
yeah,
it is what it is. I mean, the best way you're ever going to sell anything on your own without any other corporation is with your own website, making your own stuff, and much like, with what you got with NosferatuOranges.com. So,
thank you. I try, man.
That's what.
But on the same token, I wouldn't mind if I had a big publisher behind it. Believe me.
You know what I mean? Like, even with free music or stuff that's given away free, it never hurts that if this is in your everyday life on the regular, especially around Christmas or whatever, hey, throw a couple bucks in the old Louis Pecsi coffer.
I'm in agreement with that.
Your favorite. Look, I got bands that enhance my life on a day-to-day, and I try to make sure that I pay that back, even though I'm in a position where I'm trying to help bands on a daily basis, and artists such as yourself on a daily basis. Still, I feel as a person or whatever, I try to pay that back. But again, we're in a cool time right now where we're able to have our own little spots, and you know, the cost of a website or whatever is nothing compared to what you can do with it. And I would suggest that to any artist that, you know, is if you got some material under your belt or whatever, or you're really going somewhere, that's what I would. And you can make free websites nowadays. I'm not trying to pimp any of those or anything, but there's so many of those places. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I do.
And it's just, that's what. Now, do you ever go to that place, Deviant Art?
I do, yeah. I need to put my work up there.
Yeah, I discovered that a couple of years ago. That place blew my mind. I didn't realize how to use that place. I'm still learning.
Yeah, I should definitely put my stuff up there, too. It's like, sometimes I'm not into, like, going on where there's a million other people, you know, but it is a great site, man. And I like the stuff on there.
Yeah, anybody that's listening, go check out Deviant Art. They got a lot of kick-ass art over there, and you can even it's a good place to go commission art and
just commission
such as yourself. So and yeah, if you would like to commission some art from Louis Pecsi, you can go find him over on Facebook. And are you on the Twitters? I can't remember.
What's that?
Are you on Twitter? I can't remember. I think you're on Twitter.
I am, but I'm not. I mean, I don't use Twitter much.
Yeah, you're the same as me, kind of post and ghost type of deal. Don't hang out.
I just don't find that it doesn't interest me that much, you know?
Social media in general is kind of like that for me.
I mean, I like Facebook the way it's designed. It's a really well-designed mechanism.
It is. It's a good layout. It works. They've really refined it, and other sites kind of try to use aspects of it in making their place. One that I would suggest is going over to Minds.com. That's a growing platform that's decentralized, which means it's
Minds.com, huh?
Yeah. It's a growing platform. They have a pretty big, section with artists, photographers, all that. Some of the art and pictures on there, a lot of photography, but there's just a lot of everything on there, but it's not controlled by overlords like Facebook is. It's controlled by the people.
Yeah, Facebook is definitely compromised there, isn't it?
Yeah. And, my whole thing is I try to steer, for the most part, I try to steer away from, political stuff, and I do that on the radio. I try to steer away from political stuff or religious stuff, because it's just... you need a break from it. You need to go somewhere to not hear it and deal with it. And I try to provide that, You
do a good job, man.
I try my hardest, man. But, and I understand. Everything's heated right now. And, but what is really pissing me off about all that is... no matter the ignorance or whatever that all of them are doing up on the hill, is when we have groups, say like a horror group, and then somebody wants to share a watch party of the impeachment process. What are you doing? This is a horror group. What does that have to do with, it's like, that pisses me off. It's like people trying to...
Yeah, they have groups for that, man.
That's the thing. There are, Christ, you can go all over Facebook and find plenty of groups for both sides or whatever. And it's like, people go to these other groups to get away from that because it's on their feed. So a group that they can just go scroll through has none of that. And that's why they go there. Oh, I'm sorry. It just pisses me off.
I don't know what to tell you. It's insane. We live in an insane world.
But you've seen it. You know what I'm talking about.
I do, and it's,
come on, man.
I don't see it getting better, man. It's like that's the problem. I think if we talk to each other,
I think being able to have civil discourse, more one-on-ones, and more actual conversations by the actual people is going to go a lot further than any politician, no matter what
what I think is they're trying to divide.
I think the people have to lead in that whole thing myself.
I think we're being divided deliberately as a country, and that's what scares me.
That's the thing. They are purposely dividing the people because they are easy to control when everybody is all, and it's just...
This is an
we as people need to come together and, lead the leaders. Nope, do it like this.
Well, because it's supposed to be our country.
It is. And people are forgetting that. It's not run...
Well, I don't know if it is
it's not,
anymore. That's the scary part.
Yeah.
I hope you're right.
Well,
but I don't know.
I think, at the end of the day, if we really wanted, sadly to say, because I watch the same statistics, the poor outnumber the elites, so if we wanted to do
so
it,
we are still the shit, right? It's like...
Grab your torches and pitchforks! Oh, I was hoping to see Frankenstein. It's just old grumpy politicians. Shit.
Hey, man, Frankenstein's always cool in my book.
Exactly. I haven't seen them do anything on any type of, any hint. The last thing that I saw was that one with Daniel Radcliffe in it, and what's his butt that's playing Xavier.
Oh yeah, how was that? I never got to see it.
It's forgettable because I've seen it twice and I still can't remember. I mean,
that's not good.
I know it was. I know there's some comical bits in it, but for me, I remember Daniel Radcliffe was, he's the character that's basically the audience's reaction or whatever to everything, and he did really good. He's been in some very good parts, man. He's
a great actor.
He's spreading his wings. I'm telling you, man. He has been all over the map since Harry Potter. He is making sure that Harry Potter is just a footnote.
Yeah, and that's not easy because, that's one of those parts that,
I still see him and think of Harry Potter. It's hard not to...
Well, he looks like Harry Potter. Come on, it's like...
It's Harry Potter.
It's sad to say, that's what he will be remembered for that. Even if he, ends up outgrowing it, come on, the woman did the biggest money-making, she is the most famous and biggest money-making author in the history of the world.
Right.
And, he got to play that part, so, hey, if he hadn't played that part, I don't think he'd be who he is,
Right.
So,
but he's, every part that he's done, since he's he'll do something scary, and then he'll go into a comedy. He's doing TV, he's doing, he's all over the place. He's not, he's making sure. I think he's, at the end of this one, he'll have been in, of course, series are different nowadays. They have, these mini-series that they purposely do for, only a month or whatever. It's, a drawn-out movie, Remember The Stand?
Yeah.
How they did that with The Stand?
Yeah, I want to see the new one they're making, the new movie, The Stand.
Yeah, I heard they're doing that. That's going to be...
if it's the same people that did it, which it probably will be, it's going to be a home run.
Yeah, I just heard the other day that they were going to be doing The Stand.
Stephen King's a lucky man, dude.
Well, especially to be alive during the time that you not only see, your book made into a movie, but then rebooted. It's like he's watched.
I mean, they screwed up Pet Sematary. I was really pissed at how they
That's another one that's been rebooted. Yeah.
Did you see it? It sucked. I didn't like the reboot.
I didn't see the new one. I don't even care to. There's some of them. It's like I don't even acknowledge them really.
But the It was friggin' unbelievable.
Yeah. See, I like the new It.
The original
They
It.
did pretty good with that. And
Me too.
You know, I still love the original. You know, but it's like it's almost two different kinds of horror, though. Is the feeling that you get? It's the same story, but one has more horror aspects and one has more thriller aspects to it. You know,
I mean, they were both definitely they both took a lot of liberties with the book.
Well, you got to also remember the first one was made for TV.
Right, and the new one, there was in the book there was a group sex scene. You can't do that with kids.
Right.
You know? It's like, okay, Steve, you can't. No matter what rating they're going to get, they can't have kids having sex.
Right.
You know. So
exactly.
That was gone.
Yeah, it's not going to go over well. I mean, I know all the Hollywood elites are into that, but no.
Yeah. So, you know, he definitely. I mean, it made sense for the story. I remember when I read it, I was like, okay. Yeah, I mean, it did definitely work.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff in his books that, you know, I can tell that there's a lot of these snowflake right fighters or whatever that are out there that try to, you know, tear shit down. It's like, yeah, I can tell that none of you have the ambition to read through a thick-ass Stephen King book because you'd have all sorts of shit to say.
Oh, dude, I've read through so many of his things, man. It's like, I've read all of his old stuff. His new stuff I haven't, but
it is a thick-ass book, man. That's a big book.
But as I say to people, you know what? I don't think he's sick. I think he's commenting on society. Just as hope.
Of course, yeah.
You know, it's like people who say to me, like, you know, oh, why do you do scary stuff? It's like, well, I'm not into evil by any stretch. You know, I'm a believer in God and all that stuff. I just like the moral battle that they show in those films. You know, the very nature of good and evil.
Morality tales always, you know, or even putting a tinge of that in your story always has, you know, the most impact for people watching.
Yes, they do.
It really, it's an awesome device to help tell a story. And, you know, and with the things that you do with Nosferatu and you know, you forget very quickly, and, you know, no spoilers here, but it's just you forget very quickly that he's the bad guy we're talking about here the whole time.
I don't think he is. See, and that's what's cool. In the new book, which even goes deeper, I view him as a victim of circumstances. And it was his ego that was his undoing in the first book. I mean, if I could, I'd go back and redo the whole first book with my tools that I'm using now, because the control, but I'm not going to. I look out and go, okay, I'm proud I did that. I used a computer that froze on me half the time. And
technology, awesome.
Right? So now the computer is as fast as my hand. I use a really fast computer, and it allows me to work in real time, and it's very similar. It's as close as I've gotten to sketching on a piece of paper, which is nice.
Nice.
And so I look at this work, it has a greater fluidity to it, and it makes me really happy. I'm able to do subtle details that I couldn't do before. Like I can zoom in on the eye and draw little details inside the eye that I couldn't do.
Really detailed, right.
And I love that. But going back to Nosferatu, you know, in the first book he was just a very tragic character that underfell some bad circumstances. He did horrendous things, but I always felt bad for him. Now, in this next book, I'm watching his character evolve. And that, to me, is the fascinating thing. And in the third book, well, that's going to be the interesting thing. I don't want to give too much away, but it's going to be a flip. And he's not going to be... I mean, in the second book, he's not clearly the villain, but in the third book, there's going to be a complete shift. And that's going to be the interesting thing, you know? And in the end, I'm trying to show how people can reclaim, you know, how they can find their humanity when they've lost
redemption.
Yeah, redemption, humanity, how you can, you know, what do we have to go through to get that? So, because otherwise I'm just going to tell you the same story over and over again about a guy going out and drinking blood, and I don't want to do that.
Right, and that's what's so awesome about the whole Nosferatu Untold Origins is it's a whole, like, you know, we've gotten, like, little touches of, you know, tragedy tales or whatever with, the Bram Stoker, not the actual...
Dude, I love Bram Stoker's Dracula. Are you a fan of Bram Stoker's Dracula?
Yeah, you know, and I'm also a fan of, what's his version of it?
Coppola.
Yeah,
Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah, there you go.
I thought that was such a damn good take on it.
Right.
They really...
But there are areas that you know as well as I do that he blatantly went and, you know, that just stuff that's just not there. It's not in the book, or he, you know, did what...
Oh, yeah.
You know, but...
It made the book a lot... It made the movie a lot better, didn't it?
Yeah. And he made things because it... Look, in a book it can come across one way when you're reading it, but in order to show that, you need to be a bit more dramatic in areas, or... You know,
right.
He changed a few things around and stuff, and substituted characters.
Well, definitely with the woman character, Winona Ryder.
If I remember right, he combined two characters, basically.
And which one? Which character?
I don't remember. Shit.
Because I thought he did pretty good with the characters, but he definitely built the character of Mina up, where she had... Yeah, she wasn't the heroic character.
The worst thing about that movie, and I hate to say it, because, yeah, he's such a good actor and he's such a good guy, is Keanu Reeves is the worst part.
They needed somebody English. They needed an English actor in that movie.
Or he could have just tried to speak normal without sounding like a surfer dude. And,
yeah, dude, you know
he might have pulled it off, but I don't think he even looked the part. It was like they really were trying to make him, you know, fit in the part, and he was trying really hard. So,
well, I mean, it's a chance probably to work with Coppola, who's one of the greatest directors.
Yeah, you're not going to turn that down, especially at that time in his career. He wasn't Mr., you know...
he hadn't done The Matrix yet, had he?
He hadn't done the 3 Matrix movies, and John Wick, and Mr. Super Duper...
Well, again, so, I mean, that guy's had a blessed career. They're doing a Matrix reboot, too, aren't they?
Are they?
I think they are, man.
No!
Yeah, I think so, man. I'm not happy about that.
No.
Hopefully it'll be more... That? Maybe it'll be a continuation. I think it's still the Wojcinski brothers, too. So I'm hoping it's more of a continuation.
Well, the brothers...
I haven't researched it. Someone told me about it. I haven't researched it. So, you know, I can't give you the dirt on it because I don't know enough.
I actually shared something about it over on
because I love the first one.
Vision page, and I'm not sure what they're doing. If it's going to be a continuation, I think it might be a continuation. They're somehow going to bring Neo back. I think.
Neo's such a great character, isn't he, dude?
Yeah, and that character works for Keanu Reeves. You know, he's able to really make that character work. He fits it perfectly.
And he still looks he could play the part, no problem.
Yeah, he's still got the same basic look. He hasn't aged a whole lot to where they'll have to do any, digital aging type stuff.
Of course, that would be interesting too. You could play with the digital technology, the aging in that film.
But I'm not sure if the Wachowski, now they're sisters. I'm not sure if they're going to direct it or...
Wait, what was that? They're sisters now?
Yeah.
They both had a sex change?
Yeah.
They had sex changes?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I didn't know... Oh my God, what the hell? Are you kidding me? I didn't even know that.
I don't know what the deal is. That's one of them weird ones where...
Yeah, they were odd from the start, weren't they?
Something behind it, or because we're in them times where everything is getting exploited, and everything and everybody, and even sex itself, no matter what it's or who it's with, and
right.
It's hard to tell sometimes whether things are being done for media purposes to exploit, transgender people, or if it's a real thing. And from what I see,
it's the real thing,
It's a real thing. I mean, they showed up at an awards show and everything as the Wachowski sisters.
What the hell, dude?
Not very good-looking sisters, but sisters nonetheless.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I didn't want to know that, man.
I mean, hey, it is what it is, man. I have, no problem.
It is. I don't have a problem with it, but...
the problem that I ever have with any of that is if it's being exploited. If you are using people that are in these types of situations to further your political agenda or your agenda or
just leave
sell
it alone.
something,
I mean...
or you're trying to cater to sell something... So that
you got problems.
You're just doing a backhanded exploitation of, people that are having a hard enough time in society without, people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I've never. I'm glad I've never had that problem myself, but it's not an easy road. I can't imagine.
I commend anybody that goes, through any type of, because there's a lot of. Just looking at the mental issue and what a person goes through mentally, I can't fathom that. So I don't have to be able to sit and judge anybody, No,
me either. And honestly, I don't want to try to fathom that.
It's like I can't even fathom a percentage of it, and you got to deal with the whole thing. So I commend anybody that.
Because weren't they twins, if I remember rightly?
I don't know if they are. I don't know. I thought they were born at. I thought one was older than the other, but again, I knew about as much as I knew of them was the documentary or all the behind the scenes from The Matrix. Was as much as I knew about anybody having to do.
I'm working on Mark Twain as we talk. Maybe I'll send you a picture when I'm done. Of the portrait of him. It looks really cool. That was just rough. That was like I worked a half hour, 40 minutes on that piece when I posted it, but now I'm like polishing up the eyes and the wrinkles and stuff as we talk. I've always found him fascinating, man. He's one of my favorite actors, writers, stuff. I just like his work,
Oh man, I hope they don't digitize him now.
Oh man, you don't have to.
Mark Twain coming back telling us stories.
Have you ever watched Hal Holbrook perform as Mark Twain?
The what?
Hal Holbrook, who's a really good actor, he has played Mark Twain on stage many times. Yeah, look at he's also done Abe Lincoln. He's phenomenal.
Wow, he can do the old greats really good, huh?
Well, he looks just like Mark Twain. Like, literally without the makeup he does, but they put some makeup on him. It's crazy. Look up Hal Holbrook's Mark Twain. It'll blow your mind away.
No shit.
Because he's such a gifted actor, that guy. And, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
That was it. I was just saying he's worth looking up. I mean, I used some photos of him for the painting because I used some of the real Mark Twain and some of him because there's not a lot of color photographs of Mark Twain. He was alive during the black and white era.
Right,
so
exactly. So
I went
photos are made that way after the fact.
Right, but Hal Holbrook is a stickler for detail, so he makes himself up to look just like Mark Twain. So for a lot of the references, the color layout, I'm using references from him. And he's pretty cool. I like his work.
That's awesome.
Good actor.
So what else? Go ahead.
No, that was it. I'm sorry, I was rambling on about Hal Holbrook. There's really not much to say.
I was just going to ask you, so what else do you got in your immediate future? And what are your plans for the holidays? I mean, besides the books, I know you got the books, you're working on those. I just didn't know if there was anything that we should know, that any events or anything that you got going on that we should know about?
No holiday, nothing spectacular planned. Just getting together with friends and family.
Excellent.
And I'm grateful for that. How about you?
About the same. Just me, the wife, and the boy, and then of course we go over and see.
How old's your son?
He's gonna be 19 here in a couple days.
Wow, dude, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But he's one amazing guy.
Is he a musician too?
Yep, he is. He's
nice.
He's already a very accomplished musician. Awards and all that.
Really? So he's got a lot of your blood in him, man.
He's got the Semper Dillis Award from the Marines.
What is that? Tell me what that is.
It's the highest award for musical achievement that they.
Wow.
He's not in the Marines. It's just they recognized his musical excellence and awarded him the Semper Dillis Award. Yeah.
That's friggin'.
They showed up in uniform, whole thing, and it was.
That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, he's quite. I've seen him do some amazing things already. I mean, he's already been in some pretty high-profile orchestras. I got some DVDs of him and everything.
Really?
Yeah, well, he's been in, shows that have been, recorded and everything with a whole camera crew and all that there. So, yeah.
These guys, that's pretty mind-blowing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nuts, man. And, now he's doing the college thing, so that's...
I hope he's just going to pursue music, man.
Well, music's always, on the back burner, but for college and stuff, he's right now he's pursuing English and stuff like that. I think he wants to go towards law.
Okay.
So that will, but having that always as his, go-to and ability, the abilities that he has already with music are, I mean, he surpasses me. I mean, the ability that he has to be able to spot read and stuff like that, where they just give him sheet music and he's able to look at it for seconds and then, okay, let's do it, and play.
Are you kidding? He's that good. He can just watch it, look at it for a few seconds, and boom.
It's pretty neat watching these guys do this type of stuff. It's amazing. So, yeah, it's very impressive, to say the least.
It's a shame he doesn't want to pursue it, though.
He'll be pursuing it in one way or another, but you gotta take one thing at a time.
That's true.
But
I mean, law is definitely a safer career.
Well, yeah, you gotta have one of them. You gotta have your go-to when you're, or at least get. The thing about, you got to play the game in schools, and you got to at least get the things that make it so you're able to get all the other things you want. And
right, I got you.
You have to take, like, these certain classes are, like, a must, School has really become more of a business. It's really kind of
You know what's crazy? It is, but that's not all over the world.
One of the biggest cons going right now, and there's no cap on the amount of money that they're allowed to make off these kids. And it's just they've really put a price on education, and some of it is a shit education. To be honest, it's
in this country. Listen, you look at other parts of the world, especially when they're surpassing us, and it makes you realize, like, we're doing a lot of stuff wrong in this country.
And we seem to be dumbing down the population.
They not even seem they are. You know that, I know that. It's like,
that's why I'm glad we got artists and shit like you, man, to, help everybody have a place that, gets some level-headedness going on.
Well, we're trying as a world to do, right? We got to make it happen. I don't know if we will, but we got to try, right?
Well, that's the thing, and in my wholehearted opinion, I think the whole trying and having the conversation is one of the biggest parts of the battle. If you can get, if you can get to that point, then you've really come along. And that's why I'm saying, without getting into any, governmental type crap, with society and the way, we need to learn to be able. We have all these platforms to be able to talk to each other. And we have all these abilities to be able to, as people, do that. Before there was platforms, there was places that we could have civil conversations. We need to be able to do that and sit down and kind of teach the leaders how to lead again, I think. But,
well, the trick is, who do we trust, because that's the real trick.
Tricky. It is really tricky, man. It's,
and
I feel bad for this generation growing up that, look, when we grew up, you knew for the most part you could turn on the news and it wasn't bipartisan, it was the news for the people, because that's what's in the fucking Constitution. They are the press that is the link between us and the government, that they tell us what is up, not choose a side and then tell us what that side wants us to hear. That's not how you do it. You need to tell news, and we have a generation that's growing up where there is partisan news, and that is something that even us as adults are trying to get our heads around. That media is there. There's a lot of media that's there, and a lot of framing, and a lot of shit that's just there to get your clicks or to get your attention, just to make money. And even if it's false, they can turn around and correct it on page 10, if they do. But nobody's going to see that. It won't matter, because a lie gets around the world twice as fast as the truth could even put its fucking shoes on. So, it's, that's the land that this generation is growing up in. And then we wonder why some of them are so batshit crazy and confused.
Yeah, it's messed up, man.
Because, even when you take all the, the sides and all that out of it, just look at, we're supposed to be able to get our information to be able to make our own mind up. But if that information is tainted in order to make you think a certain way, then what the hell? How am I even making a choice? I can't make an educated choice if I'm not being educated. So that's the situation where they have to learn to actually fact check the fact checkers. And
hey man, I like PBS personally.
That's
and
dude,
the BBC.
I'm telling you what, if you fund anything, if you want to fund any programming or any network, PBS is where it's at.
I agree.
That is
where I go for
that is what we grew up
televised stuff, and I also watch BBC a lot.
I wholeheartedly believe we wouldn't have artists like you if it weren't for PBS and those types
of programs. PBS is good stuff, man. I am going to run because we could talk all afternoon.
Yes, well, I was supposed to be done with this show 15 minutes ago, Lewis. I'm pissing all sorts of people off.
Well, man, I hope you have a good rest of the day.
Thank you very much for talking with us, Lewis. Real quick, we go find you.
My pleasure, always.
We go find you at NosferatuOrigins.com as well as...
Or Facebook.
As well as on Facebook. You can find the illustrated books by Louis Pecsi, as well as just going and straight to his Facebook and commissioning some art, as well as finding him on Amazon. Just type in Amazon.com/Louis Pecsi and you will find him immediately. All right, brother.
Thank you. Have a good one, my friend.
You too. If I don't talk to you again, you have a happy holiday and you be safe out there, brother.
You too. And we'll touch base after the holiday, man.
Definitely.
Take care, Kel.
All right, Louis.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care.